Okay, guys, following with the theme of a lot of sort of interesting videos I've been doing lately, it's time to really get down into the Mandela Effect. This is a sort of a taboo, controversial subject because, it can get pretty intense. You're talking about Mandela. He's an actual person. That's what makes this sort of very interesting because, when you think about if you're actually that person, you're actually Mandela, it must be very strange to have this whole phenomenon named after you. But I guess in a way they have to name it after somebody. It could have also, I guess, been called the Berenstain Bears phenomenon. But that one's been disproven by science, apparently, so there you go. Now, when you start talking about the Mandela Effect, there's certain ways you can go with this. I guess you can go the scientific route, and if you do, then you just stop the conversation because there's no point to continue it because, see, the thing is you always have to remember, if you go down a scientific route, a lot of the times that doesn't really leave room to ponder and wonder because it's like, well, I don't know, has science proven it? What's the data behind it? And there is no data, so then you just stop talking about it. Oh, okay, well then don't worry about it. So if you want to go down that route, go ahead. I guess you would for sure either have not clicked on this video or, well, you would stop it by now. Okay, so let's say you don't want to go down that route. Let's say perhaps you are sort of scientific minded, but you're very open minded and you're like, okay, I know there's no evidence, but I'm curious about it, so let me learn about it. Then you're still tuned in, so we're good. I had to take some coffee because this is a lot to digest, with the whole Mandela situation. So, what are we really dealing with here? Are we dealing with people who have just bad memories? Sometimes you think, oh, I thought that was 12, but it was 21, or you're just, reverse things. Or are we dealing with something bigger than that? Well, the answer is, are you ready for the answer? The answer is, maybe. Is that a solid answer? I'm using the M word. The big old maybe. So I guess instead of trying to dissect and figure out whether the Mandela Effect is real or not, because that's sort of a silly conversation to have since you can't really have definitive proof one way or another, let's just ponder the possibilities. One of the main theories behind it is that existence is much bigger than we think it is, and it's not just our universe, but in fact there's infinite parallel universes, all on different timelines, different things going on, and some of them are so similar to ours that there's only a few slight differences between them. So one of the ideas is that maybe somehow these parallel universes are sort of merging in a way. Back to merging, there's a lot of merging going on this channel, which is good because you're now, not only are you merging different ideas and topics, but you're actually literally merging different parallel universes into one. So now it's all a part of like togetherness. So we're really, you sometimes feel lonely in your own universe because it's a lonely universe. But now since you have two universes merging, it's sort of like a marriage between two bachelor universes, and now they've sort of like tied the knot and they're linked. Now the only problem is when these two merging universes connect and combine into one soul, the problem with that is that our memories perhaps might get confused. Because now you have a situation where you're like, honey, we need to pack the kids in the van and like get going. And then, the mom could be like, okay, Timothy and Robert and Daniel, let's go. And then the father could be like, who's Robert? And then he just realized he just bounced into a different parallel universe where he actually has an extra kid and his name is Robert. And he's like, oh my God, am I going insane? You're not going insane. Well, that's debatable. You could be going... That's what's tricky about the Mandela effect, because it's either real or you're going insane, so it's hard to balance out the two. Or you just have a really crappy memory. Like a really... Because if you forgot that you have a third kid, that's a really bad memory. But I don't mean that in an offensive way, because I don't want to belittle anyone or make them feel bad, because if your memory is that bad, it's not a joking matter. Like if you literally forget that you have a third kid, that's nothing to joke around about, because that poor kid, he needs a father in his life. Remember that. So to keep it more serious, this is an intense situation, Mandela effect going around everywhere. And we have to figure this out. Because kids are getting confused. They keep looking at their cereal boxes. All the names are getting mixed up. Fruit Loops spelled, all these cereals have different spelling. One of them is Fruit Loops with double O's. One of them is fruit with the typical spelling. We don't know what's going on anymore. The kids are confused. The kid asks for one particular cereal and then he gets another one. And the kid doesn't know what's going on. He goes to school and he asks his friends, hey, have you guys ever heard of the Mandela Effect? And the kid gets just like beat up because like, what on earth is a Mandela Effect? And boom, punch right into the face, because kids don't have time for that. We live a very active lifestyle. Kids at that age do not have time to hear theories about the Mandela Effect. So then you got bullying happening at school now because of the Mandela Effect. Some poor kid who's wise beyond his years. He goes to school gently asking his friends about the Mandela Effect, but they don't got time for that. Maybe a drop kick to the head, and that's aggressive. We don't, basically, we can't let the Mandela Effect harm our children, because we need to eliminate bullying from school. Drop kicks to the head, punches, that's in the past. We don't do that anymore, because we have to have a gentle, loving, nurturing situation at school. Now we need that. So then we have to ask ourselves, what can we do about this Mandela Effect? It's a tough situation. You're living your normal life. Listen, people have bills to pay, mortgages to pay. Just, you got to get a new Brita filter for your water. You're sitting there timing. Has it been, how many jugs of water have I filled? I think I've had this Brita filter for 2 months. I need to change. There's so much stuff you have to constantly think about that we don't have time to also ponder the Mandela Effect. And that's the reason why we haven't really come to a group consensus of what's going on, because we just don't have time to figure it out. We live these busy lives trying to pay our bills and work. Who has time after like an 8 or 10 hour shift of work or a 12-hour shift of work to come home and ponder the Mandela Effect? If you tell a grown man who's just worked 12 hours in a factory to ponder the Mandela Effect, he will punch you right in the face. You won't even finish your sentence, and your whole face will be just, you don't even want to know what's going to happen to your face. So what do? People don't have time to ponder these silly things. Imagine telling someone who's just worked 12 hours in a factory on their feet, hey man, have you noticed that like the writing on the cereal box is a bit different? Oh, by the way, do you remember that cartoon when you were little? It was called the Berenstain Bears, but the spelling's different. Not only a punch to the face, but you just might be thrown into oncoming traffic. I don't condone that. Please don't get into fights over the Mandela Effect, and definitely don't throw somebody onto merging traffic. That doesn't solve anything. It just doesn't. And if you do that, remember, you're going to be hoping and wishing for the Mandela Effect, because you're going to hope and wish that you just randomly fluctuated into a parallel universe where you didn't throw them onto oncoming traffic. That's what you're going to wish for. So you'll be praying for the Mandela effect to save your, you know, all the jail time you'd get. So this is a very, very delicate subject. I know you can sort of laugh, aha, the Mandela effect sounds kind of goofy and kind of futuristic, but it might be going on right now. I sometimes wonder in a parallel reality how many subscribers I have. Because in this parallel reality, I still have only 6. And I've been wishing and hoping for a 7th subscriber, an 8th. But it's hard. I mean, there's so many videos on YouTube. You know, maybe if I had uploaded my YouTube videos when YouTube first started, I'd have more, but it's hard. I get lost in the shuffle. But I also know that there's probably a parallel universe out there where I have at least 10 subscribers. It has to be the case. It can't be that like I only have 6 subscribers in all of my parallel universes. That would be sad. I'd shut down this YouTube channel right away. I would either shut down the YouTube channel or I would switch it completely to an ASMR type channel, because I did threaten to do that before. And you have to remember that would easily be capable, because I do have a very soft, soothing voice. Like, so I'm just here to try to help you sleep. Now remember that my only intention is to help you fall into a gentle sleep. Remember that you are loved and that you're wonderful. Now as you trail off into a beautiful sleep, I want you to think about all the people in your life that love you and support you. Always remember that you are loved. Like, imagine that as a whole channel. Don't tell me that wouldn't get more than 6 subscribers. I mean, at that point, if the ASMR didn't get me more than 6 subscribers, I'm out of ideas. At that point, you just got to call it quits. You know. So that's what this video is all about. It's sort of I know that it has a sort of like ASMR kind of vibe to it now because of that, but that's not really. It's more just about these parallel lives. How many subscribers do we have? Now you're probably thinking, Tony, I don't even have a YouTube channel. Stop talking. You're annoying me right now. Just remember, you don't have a YouTube channel in this universe. In a parallel universe, you might have multiple YouTube channels. So that's the thing. We never really this whole Mandela effect, we keep thinking about it, but we keep thinking about useless stuff like the spelling on cereal boxes. Who cares how it's spelled? Fruit Loops. It doesn't matter. What matters is how many subscribers do we have in parallel universes, because that makes the conversation a bit more spicy. Because you might just be a regular Joe working at, you know, some retail job, and you think, oh, you know, I don't have much going on. But in some parallel reality, you might be a famous YouTube star. So you might think the Mandela effect doesn't really affect you much, but it does, because there's so many subscribers that you're not aware of that you have. They're technically not yours. They're the person in the other reality. That just opens up a whole can of worms, because is that person in the parallel reality you? Or is that just somebody who's kind of you but not really? Like, what if in this world I only have 6 subscribers, but in my parallel universe I have like 1 million? Do I punch the other me in the face and get rid of them and steal their subscribers? Is that even offensive? And is that even a form of violence? Because it's just me. It's like, I guess I'm just self-harming. Because I want those 1 million subscribers. And I'm not saying I would punch my other self in the face and steal their subscribers, but I might be tempted to. I probably wouldn't, because I practice non-violence. I always tell people to be good to each other, so let's not do that. Please don't assault the other you in the parallel lives and steal their subscribers. That's offensive. But I'm just saying, it's something to think about. It's there as a possibility if you're sort of adventurous. The Mandela effect. As you can see, it just goes on and on and on and on and on. But we need to just continue our day and stop talking about the Mandela Effect, because it takes up too much of your day. So for anyone who's ever pondered the Mandela Effect, I hope you pondered it for a short period of time, but you also freed up enough space to live the rest of your day, because it's intense. And I'll leave you with those thoughts, because this video could just be hours and hours, and we need to go on with our days. So to reiterate, the Mandela Effect, is it real, is it not? We're experiencing something, who knows what's going on, and I urge you all to come to your own conclusions and be good to each other. Be nice to your parallel lives in the other dimensions. Don't steal their subscribers, because that's very iffy territory, and just be gentle and good to each other. And I will see you in the next video, and I hope the Mandela Effect has a positive effect on you, and be good to each other. Bye bye.